Welcome to another episode of the Moorehouse Show.
I'm Casey House, your local realtor.
I'm Jason, the financial ambassador, senior loan officer of Cross Country Mortgage.
Thanks for joining us.
Today we're joined by General Contractor, the pretty handy girl, Brittany Bailey. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, no problem. So, as you mentioned, I'm a general contractor in North Carolina, and I started a website in 2010 that is full of like 2,000 DIY tutorials, and spend most of my day either renovating properties or creating content.
That's incredible. You got to go check out her website. She has a lot of great tips for you.
I'm a little handy, not a lot handy, but could I still find value in your website? And if so, where is a good place for me to start, I guess?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So The whole purpose of the website was really to help people who have literally no experience.
Oh, so maybe like one step.
No, you're seriously, you're fine. It starts out with, there's so many different tutorials on there. So it starts out with very small, kind of more crafting type projects, and then slowly builds up to, more advanced plumbing, electrical, renovation type. But there's actually, if you go to the website, there's a pop-up. They're annoying, but this pop-up it'll teach you how to DIY anything. And it basically starts with the basics and teaches you what tools you need, what mindset you need, which is actually a big part, especially for women, to learn how to do things.
Yeah. I need to recaulk like the countertop.
Oh, yeah, there's a tutorial on there for you. Yeah.
So how did you start your website? How did you get everything going off the ground?
It's a good story. It really is. At the time, I was a graphic designer, illustrator, and web designer, and I had been doing it for 10 years, getting a little tired of it. And one of my girlfriends who lived in the area, she was always calling me, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? And we were working on something. I think we were building some shelving for her mudroom, and she said, we should start this business. We'll teach women in the garage or in some space. We'll teach them how to use power tools. We'll teach them how to fix stuff. And I was on board with this. I'm like, yes, absolutely. This would be so cool. Let's do it. And she said, yeah, I'll be your manager. I'll do all the financials. So I went home and I told my husband, and he squashed my idea like a crazy. He said, I think you'd reach more people with a blog. And now 2010, you may remember, was like the mommy blogs. That was like all that I knew about blogs. But I found one person who was creating DIY blogs, and I'm like, oh, I see how I could do this. And so, June 2010, I started a blog, which has now become a website full of over 2,000 tutorials.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. It is amazing how many followers you have on your website and on Instagram. Can you share with our audience kind of how you grew your business through social media? Because I know a lot of people are trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, I don't have any magic, unfortunately. I'm sorry. It helps to have started a website in 2010 and be there when each of these platforms has started.
Yeah.
So I can say that there was no overnight success. I think everybody starts at like 0 followers, as did I. And it's just a slow progression. And I think the thing that really helps is that I enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed teaching people through online and through, social platforms.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's not a job. It's like my way of reaching out and teaching people. And so it doesn't seem like I'm doing it for the money. Do you know what I mean? And I think if you go into it doing it for the money, it's not going to happen.
A little bit harder.
You kind of have to talk about and share what you're passionate about, and be able to like draw people in that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good advice.
Brittany, what was your inspiration about getting into being a general contractor?
I'm laughing because I never thought about becoming a general contractor, but we had a leak that happened between our kitchen and laundry room, and we went from having a kitchen and laundry room to nothing in 3 days because the restoration team found mold. And so it was kind of a stressful time in our lives. And I had been doing small, little, tiny, little makeovers in my own house. When I do one, I always have a vision in my head. And so these, the men, mostly men, there were really no women on the restoration team. They were asking me like, hey, you got to pick out your finishes. We got to get moving on this. And I'm like, this is too stressful. Usually I see something in my head before we start on a project. And my husband, being the wonderful person that he is, said, you know what, if you want to take this project and just, we'll tell the guys, get rid of the mold, put the subfloor back in and leave. I'm happy if you want to go ahead and just finish it, even if it takes you 13 months or 18 months or whatever.
Wow, that's a good husband.
He's a really good husband. So as I'm working in the kitchen, it took me 13 months. We uncovered a lot of termite damage that we had no idea. It was actually my electrician and I, and he's like, this stud feels weird. And he pulled out sawdust. I had to call in the building inspector and the termite company, and we had kind of a discussion about what I needed to do. After everyone left, the building inspector came over and he's like, hey, have you ever thought about becoming a general contractor? And I looked at him like he had two heads, and I said, no, I am just a housewife, and I just want to get my kitchen back and like go on with life. And like, little did I know, he kind of planted that seed, and then 3 years later I did earn my license.
What an incredible story. That's amazing. Yeah. Brittany, so how did you end up in Raleigh, and why do you love it so much?
Well, we weren't intending on coming to Raleigh, but my husband was in grad school, and he had a couple offers from companies all over the U.S., and unfortunately, the dot-com bubble burst, and that was in 2001, and so all the companies rescinded their job offers, and we were like, where are we going to go? We had friends who lived in Chapel Hill who said, you should come down and visit us. It's a great place. One of the things that we liked most about it was the college town feel, because we were in Charlottesville, which we loved, but there weren't enough jobs there, and neither one of us had jobs, so we came down for the weekend, and we kind of fell in love with the area. And Chapel Hill was a little bit more expensive, and we kind of felt like we liked Raleigh. We bought a house, and we've actually lived in 2 houses on the same street.
Oh my
God!
Because
we love the neighborhood,
funny.
we love the street. And we've, built a family here. We now have 2 boys, and we've slowly pulled our family here. So, like, my husband's parents, we would call them when they were in New Jersey, and it was nice here, like November, December, January. We're like, oh, what's the weather here? But we would see on the news that it was, like, really cold. So we got them to move down here. They live in Durham, and his sister lives in Durham. My stepmom lives here in Raleigh, and, like, so now we're here. We're not moving.
I love it. And I love how you recruited the family to the Triangle as well.
So maybe cool. I shouldn't share that.
so much for being on the show.
No
this
problem.
was awesome. We'll put all the information on where you could find Brittany right at the end. Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Moorehouse Show.